Okay, so while the computer comes, give me about 20 minutes of your time. I'll speak very quickly. Okay, so three things about me I want you to know before we start, to get all warmed up. I was born 15,000 kilometers from India. I was born in a little island called Puerto Rico. We used to belong to Spain, and then we became part of the United States in 1898. So my mother tongue is Spanish, and so I'm an islander, okay? The second thing about me is that in October of last year, I took a new adventure in my life, and I decided to move to India for work with my two dogs, Wilma and Wanda. And I feel at home, even though I'm so far away from home, I feel at home. And I'm doing a lot of traveling throughout India, and let me tell you, Gujarat is it's my favorite state so far. I went to see Rani Ki Vaj and Adalash Nivaj, and I've eaten a lot of thali, and I want to get a patola. And I can't wait to keep exploring the state. It's just really beautiful, and so I'm really in love with India and with Gujarat. And then the third thing is, I actually mentioned that I have been helping my clients sell cloud for about 8 years. So Microsoft started in this journey, and I was living in Seattle, in Washington, and then all of a sudden there were all these people selling cloud, and I'm like, what do you mean cloud? Let's just sell Windows and Office. That makes a lot of money. What's this cloud thing? And no one would give us the light of day. So we became really like a team, a strong team, and an army of people who wanted to sell cloud and really wanted to see the potential of that technology. And now, we have a commitment to reach 20 billion US dollars by 2018. So we're working really hard, and it's become a really big business. So what I would like to do in these 20 minutes is I want to share with you, when you're looking at cloud as a new technology, or really any technology, what are some things to think about? You are the government, you are the stewards of many of your stakeholders. You care about the data, you want to be able to do wonderful things fairly quickly. You're exploring cloud. What are the kinds of things that you can look at and you should think about, okay? All right, and I also have a little video which you're gonna love. Ahmedabad is in that video, okay? So I'll just leave it at that, and then we'll get started. Okay. And just keep me real with the time, because I'm really hungry too, actually. So, okay. I wanted to give you a few numbers about the cloud, right? I mean, everyone talks about the cloud. When you look at the top analysts, you look at someone like Goldman Sachs, for example. Goldman Sachs says that the expectation is that cloud solutions will grow from about $58 billion in 2013. It will go by 30% between 2013 and 2018. The rest of IT is growing at 5%. So 30% is huge. Now, if you look at Forrester, who's more bullish, so their view is that from 2013 to 2020, there will be in public cloud up to about $191 billion a year by 2020. 199 billion. And then if you say, Nitsa, that's so nice and great, but how about India? So we've been working with a local analyst called Zinova, and their view is that by 2020, about 17% of IT will be cloud. India, right? So it's something that's hot, it's something that everyone is thinking about and exploring. And I just wanted to give you a couple of numbers for you to keep in mind. And people are thinking about cloud not only at the beginning when we first started having the conversations. People were interested about cloud and cost savings. That's what I want to do. Cut costs, I want to cut costs. But as time has evolved, what we're looking at is that it's really about the innovation and how quickly can I get to market from a business? How quickly can I have my application or my solution running? So it's become more about cloud as a tool of innovation for governments, for businesses. And again, this is something that you hear from the top analysts. Okay. And then this quote from Forrester that says, if you're concerned about cloud because of security, that's your reason, you have to look at cloud again. This is a quote from 2013. Okay, and I will give you couple of examples of why, when you think about why you should have security as top of mind. Let me show you something that was published. Oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. So let me give you a framework. 4 things to think about. When we innovate in the cloud space, we always marry that innovation with these 4 pillars. Okay, this is all the company is moving in this direction. If you're launching new services, if you're going to innovate in the cloud, you're going to think about security first and foremost. You're going to think about privacy. You're going to think about compliance. Okay, how do we comply as a processor, and how do we help our customers comply with the requirements? And then transparency, transparency, transparency. This is not just about the government and its relationship with stakeholders. Cloud providers hold your data, and so transparency is key. All right, so we start with security. This was published in May. What Microsoft has been seeing, based on some malware takedowns that we have done, is that India, month after month, demonstrates to be the most infected country on malware, on the malware that we track, okay? Every month we get the same numbers, so you get infected a lot, okay? Your devices, our devices, get infected a lot. And this is why it's important to think about security first. And the way that we think about security is, we think about kind of 3 vectors, right? We start with the fact that we're a platform. So we protect the platform. We built in functionalities and ways to protect it. But that's not enough, because a platform is always working with other applications on top. It's getting endpoints from different devices, right? So you actually have to make sure you protect those as well. And we also work across also third-party technology. So it's kind of an end-to-end view. That's the first element. The second element on intelligence is, what are all these sources of information that we have, right? I mean, we have like billions of people on Windows, millions of people on services. We have devices, so we have a lot of endpoints that provide us with information. And we also have human hunters. That sounds so like the Lions of Gujarat, right? Human hunters that come and help really analyze and help with that specific data that comes to help with things that are actionable. How do I get this data about security? And how can I build something to help people be more secure moving forward? And then the last one is partners, because security is not a one bullet, one shot, one bullet. You need to work with others. There's not one solution. We need to work with others, so partnerships with others are key. And then here, just a couple I wanted to share with you. I'm not a technical person, but there are a couple of things that I love about the service that made me think of Star Wars, or things like that. The first one is that, when you're thinking and you're evaluating security and you're thinking about, okay, is this vendor really doing something strong in terms of security? Look at international standards. What are the companies that are adopting those international standards, that are participating in that process, and that adopt them first, okay? We use things like ISO 27001. I don't know if you have in your teams people who know about this standard, ISO 27018. Just look at the top standards in the area and see whether that vendor is part of that their adoption, and also adopting it first, okay? Then you look at things that are built at the platform level, okay? A couple of practices that I think are important. One is, historically, people thought about protecting their infrastructure as a protection. So you would build a huge fort, right? And you would protect everything and make sure everything was okay in the inside. But the truth is, you have people internally that can really have a lot of impact, right? So it's not just about it's also about assume breach. You have to assume you're going to get attacked, and you have to figure out how quickly you can detect it, how quickly you can block it, and solve the problem. So it's not only protect, but also assume breach. Then other things we do is we have teams of blue teams and red teams. These are the hunters. So we have some people that all they do all day, they get paid for basically attacking the system from within. And then you have the blue team. These are people that are paid to protect the system. When the red team finds a vulnerability in the services, They actually share that information all the way up to the executive VP, and they share it across all the services so that they all can learn from what happened, and they can close the vulnerability. The other thing is we call just-in-time access. So we were talking about having the servers in your house and hugging them and looking at them every day and knowing exactly where they are. At Microsoft and in the top cloud providers, there is no holder of the keys to the kingdom. That doesn't exist. Okay? If you want to gain access to customer data, you have to go through a process whereby you request access. The computer checks if you've been, if a background check has been done on you, if you've been fingerprinted, and if you have had the latest trainings on security. If you do go through that, then you get access only for a small portion of the data, time bound. And all of this is logged, okay? So no one has the keys to the kingdom. And now one of the things that we do is that we insert the customer in that workflow. And then every time we have an engineer that needs to go in there, your administrator gets picked. And they say, hey, is it okay for me to go into the data? So that's a way where we've been thinking about, okay, how do you give people more control? How do you give people more visibility? And how do you protect all that data? Okay? All right, so those were just a couple of examples. There are also things that we create because customers have been asking us to do it, that we add to that, okay? You can decide how much additional encryption you want to put in there. You can decide what you want to do with your keys, with your encryption keys. And so there are a lot of things that you can decide in terms of decisions that you're going to make. Okay? All right. So those were just, I'm going really fast because we're hungry, but that was just some ideas of the kinds of things that permeate the security piece. Well, now we're going to have our video. Where's our video? One of the things that I wanted to, you're going to show it now? Yeah, okay. Okay. So this is Power Business Intelligence, Power BI. The colors are infected devices around the world, okay? This data is refreshed every day, okay? And you can actually see, the red, the yellows, the blues. And we're going to get to India in a second, and you're going to see kind of what kind of infections we see in India. Most of these are malwares that Microsoft partnered with Europol, Interpol, law enforcement to bring down these criminal undertakings that were using these botnets to steal money from accounts, okay? So these were financial bots. And so here we go with India, and we're going to visit various cities in India. Look, it looks like a Christmas tree, but it's not really it's not a good lighting. It's not like Diwali lighting. Here we start. On the top you can see what city we're on the top right hand side. So that's Delhi. This is B106. It's a financial services bot that stole over $500 million from users around the world. Then we get here to Mumbai. So again, look at the, where you have a lot of financial services, you can see that the yellow line goes really high up. Then we go to Calcutta. This is only one more minute, but I just wanted to give you, this is the kind of things that big data and analytics can give you, this visualization. So Chennai. And this feed, so the fact that these devices have been identified as infected, we take this information and we build it as an additional security layer into those services we build. So it's like even more protection, and we share with the governments, and we share it also with banking institutions and organizations. Hyderabad, Ahmedabad is coming soon, okay? It's coming, it's coming. Pune. Chandigarh. This information also feeds something that we call the Cyber Operations Center at Microsoft, which is we take all of those inputs of data on security breaches, on security issues, and we share with all of the services so that we can make them more secure. And so this is part of the information. And I think Amnabad is coming now. I promise you it's coming. Aha! Here we go. Okay, so it's not as bad as other places. So that's good. All right? And I think we can, that was the highlight of the video, Amnabad. So now we can we stop it? Okay. This is the picture also of Amnabad, and this is available for you if you're interested in the deck. Then we were talking about privacy and a couple of the elements to keep into account. Everyone said privacy is important. For the government, you hold a lot of data, sometimes of your stakeholders, and so you need to work with someone that not only commits to use the data only for what you told them to use it, but that also gets audited by a third party and provides visibility and an objective third party to say, hey, it's true that you're actually doing what you're saying you're doing, right? Because you're not going to just trust what people say. You have to look ways to verify, right? Like Hillary Clinton used to say, distrust and verify with Iran. So it's like, here it's like distrust and verify to make sure that things are going well and that you can build that trust little by little. Someone said cloud in India, the cloud of India. So does the provider have data centers in India? So, Microsoft, for example, is all about cloud in India, India, right? I mean, we build data centers here. Where's the data? Where's the data going? Visibility around that data. Okay, the next piece is about compliance. And when I talk about compliance, one of the first conversations that highly regulated industries and the government, when they come to us, they say, I don't know if I can. I don't know if the law allows me to do it. I don't know if the regulations allow me to do it. Microsoft, can you help me, right? Or cloud provider, can you please help me? And so having that cloud provider that is willing to have that conversation, invest in the research, and also, frankly, have the conversation with the regulators and try to influence in a positive way, get input in a positive way so that you can actually change the services moving forward. So that's the kind of interaction that you want to see from your cloud provider. Someone who commits to follow the law, someone that helps you be compliant with following the law, right? This is, when I did my research around what applies to most governments here in India, the IT Act and the rules are the main source of obligations. These are things that we help you sort out and your team sort out. Hey, do I have, is there a privacy and information security policy that I can see? Is there a way to obtain consent from the user? Is there restrictions on the data? What are the reasonable practices? We help you map all of these things so that you can make decisions and feel comfortable that your stakeholders will support you once you want to make that change. This is just an example of where we have all of these commitments, okay? And then a couple of things on the transparency. So that we invest about $1 billion in security every year, okay? That includes research and development, but it also includes things like this, right? The Microsoft Trust Center, where you can actually go and see what are the practices, what are the certificates that you have, what are where's the data, what are the data flows? I want to know, you have Indian data centers, what does that mean? Where are things? And so here, a lot of money being transparent. A couple of examples here as well in how much information we provide, etc. And then the last thing that I want to say, I'm really being fast. Okay, the last thing that I want to say is, because we're going to be holding our customers' data, we want to be good citizens and we want to be involved in India as well, not only developing data centers here, but also in having conversations with deity, for example, right? And being part of the cloud RFP empanelment, which we're going through right now. So we're having a lot of conversations with the government, providing all the information they want so that we can actually, participate and